Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. So today is Black Desert Business Guide for noobs. This isn't specific details on everything in this game or every business you can do. It's the general guide, the general things you'll need, and you're gonna have to make your own tweaks depending on what business you want to do. This video will tell you what you need to start a business, show noobs how to manage basics to start a business, show off an example business, stay as short as possible. This video will not give you specific details on every business you can create and not show off everything in major detail. So, to put that simply, I'm going to give you the puzzle pieces, and I can help you in another video or in the comments how to put those puzzle pieces together for your specific needs. But without further ado, let's get started. So the first step and the simplest step to this whole guide is to decide what you want to do. So in game, if you hit P, it'll bring up player stats, and at the bottom you can see profession right there. So there's gathering, processing, cooking, alchemy, training, fishing, hunting, trade, and farming. Keep in mind a lot of these are intertwined, and you won't really just choose one of those things. For example, the overarching thing for this video is fishing. I'm going to be showing you guys fishing. And with that, I do the NPC trading, so trading will level up. I built a boat, so processing will level up. So a lot of these are intertwined. Keep that in mind. So before you get started or go any further, make sure you get yourself some contribution points. If you know how to do this, skip this step. If you don't, I'll tell you. So go to a town or a city, and you want to look for NPCs with an exclamation mark over their head or on the map. Once you find that NPC, talk to them. They're going to offer you quests, and quests give you contribution points. Once you accept the quest, you'll see there's like a little badge thing in the quest reward. Those are the contribution points, or they're the contribution XP that fill up your contribution points bar, which then in turn give you contribution points. You're going to want to aim for at least 20, even 30 to be safe, just so you can follow the rest of the video without having to run back and forth, but you can decide how you want to do it. So now is one of the more complicated sections of the video. It's the setup, and the setup will depend on what business you're doing, and as I go along with this part of the video, I'll explain how it would vary from business to business as best as I can. If you're confused at any point, or I make stuff more confusing, tell me in the comments. I'll definitely help anyone out. So here we're using Port as our location. So you're going to have to decide on a location for your business. Port is the one I'm using because, like I said before, fishing is the overarching example. There are a bunch of buildings in Port. There are buildings everywhere. So in Calpheon, it's a much bigger city. There are a lot more buildings, but I'm not going to be using a major city for fishing. If you're going to do maybe blacksmithing or other crafting or alchemy, you could use the bigger city to be around maybe more NPCs. It's just whatever would fit your business better. For me, doing fishing, so I'm at a port. Then you're going to have to decide within that location what buildings you need. The top right, you can use it to sort out the different types of buildings. You know, if you buy storage, it increases the total storage and stuff you can put in there, so that's always useful. You can buy yourself some residence if you need a place to sleep, to regain energy. And there's just a bunch of different little things, and you're going to have to find out what building you need for your profession. I'll show you guys an example. So if I go to a mineral workbench, which is used to craft stuff like ingots, and ingots are then used to craft a bunch of other things. So if you're doing blacksmithing, you're going to want to buy one of these so you can craft different ingots for different weapons and such. For my example, I had to craft iron ingots at one point using melted iron shards, and then using the iron ingots, I could use them for my boat. So I had to buy a shipyard, which is another building I decided to buy because it fit my profession. Using the shipyard, it's kind of like the little hub where you'd manage your crafting. So there, if I made myself 3 iron ingots, then 3 out of 10 would be complete there. And then you'd have to find out how to get the fir plywood, the cedar, the blackstone powder, using different buildings or going out and gathering them. That's where, again, it depends on the profession and the very little details that I'm not going to go over in this video, maybe another, or if there's not many people, in the comments section. Each building you do decide to purchase has a purchase condition. The required contribution points, the contribution points you have, the work time, the cost if there is any, and then just the total money that is on you. Also keep in mind, buildings have levels. For level 1 shipyard, I could build a ferry, but once I level up to level 2, I could build a fishing boat, which is a bigger, a bigger boat. This is the little manage thing again. You can see at the top, you can decide what sort of boat you'd want to buy. After you've found out what sort of buildings you need and you've bought the buildings, then you're ready to move on to the next step. So the next step is workers. Now this is we're kind of back at the more broad section. So workers you'll basically use for every profession. So the setup is the only real nitpicky thing depending on profession change. You know what I mean? But now as the workers, it's the general. So to first find a contractor for your workers, you can open up the NPC search in the top right and then look for workers and click it. Then head over to the NPC and talk to him. You're going to need lodging. This is where your workers stay. So to actually get lodging, you're gonna have to open up the menu again and buy that type of building in your specified town. So here, by sorting lodging in the top right, it'll show me all the buildings where I could then purchase lodging. In my case, I'm just showing you guys there are certain ones that I've purchased and that I'm going to need more, but I only have one contribution point, which isn't enough. So I'm going to show you that you can also sell any building and you'll gain back those contribution points. In this case, I sell my mineral workbench because I'm not using it right now, and then I gain my 4 contribution points back, so now I'll have 5 out of 32, and then I can respend those in some more lodging for more room for workers. Now, this is another thing to keep in mind with buildings. When you check the purchase condition, a lot of the times you can't just buy that one building. You kind of have to buy the neighboring buildings as well. So in this case, it'll cost me 4 contribution points to buy all the buildings I need, which for here it's 2. It'll buy the lodging and then the neighboring buildings, and by default the neighboring buildings will just automatically become storage, but you could always change them. You can always change the usage. So if I wanted to change from storage to more lodging, I could. In this case, I needed the storage, so I left it. Once you've finished purchasing and processing the lodging area, now we can go back and contract the worker. It costs 5 energy to hire a worker, and then you get this menu where you can see the work speed, the move speed, the lock stamina, and the type of worker. You can always view another, just keep in mind it will cost another 5 energy, and once you've found the worker that you like or you're just going to hire, you can click it, it'll cost some money, and ta-da, you have a worker. That worker is automatically placed in the lodging that we just bought and processed. Now managing workers, it's not that hard. At the very bottom bottom right, you can hit worker list, and those are all the workers I have in this town, and that little yellow bar is like their energy or their health bar or whatever you want to call it, and you need to keep that up for them to be any useful. So as you can see, I have one that's depleted, and how I would level it up is pretty simple. You just have to get some food by either using the marketplace or hey, even maybe buying like cooking buildings within the town and making yourself something for the workers, and then maybe even selling it, whatever you want. But beer is the most common. You can just buy some beer from the marketplace and then just hit recover in the menu. That's it. Now we talk about nodes. Now nodes have a lot of different uses, and it reflects on what sort of business you're doing. For me, I do fishing, so I'm gathering the fish, then I'm going to trade it to a trade manager, so I use nodes as like a trade route. But if you're doing, let's say, crafting, and you want to gather certain materials to make iron or whatever, you're going to have to look for nodes that have mining areas, and then you can send your workers over there to mine for you to gather materials as you do whatever around the world. So here, let's say that island up there. Let's say I fish on that island and I gather the fish from there. The origin of that fish will be that island. So it will be worth nothing for me to sell it at a trade manager unless I have nodes connected. So I'd have to connect that place to another place with a trade manager. If I just bring the fish from there to a random place, there's a huge penalty, and it's completely not worth it unless you have nodes connected. Those little yellow lines are signifying nodes. You can invest energy to level up nodes, and you simply connect nodes just by running to them, talking to the node manager, and then putting in contribution points. So again, more contribution points. You're going to want to use an online map so it shows you where all the nodes are, and then you can decide I need this connected to this so I can trade route, or I need this connected to here so I can gather some materials. It just depends on your business. Now it's the conclusion. You've picked your profession that you love doing, you found a location, you've hired some workers, you've got those buildings going, you've gathered some stuff, you've baked some goods, you've crafted some weapons, you fished up some fish. Now what? How do you make a profit? So it all depends on how stuff are going, because Black Desert is largely RNG based. So here, let's say I fished up this fish. Best way to make money off this fish is to simply just go sell it in Calpheon. The origin's Ephria port, you guys know I have nodes connected. That's how I would make a money increase. Of course, if I fished up something, let's say like a relic shard, that's worth a lot more in the marketplace, so I'd go sell it there. If you're like in the refinery or doing blacksmithing and you've made some weapons, you'd probably sell it on the marketplace rather than then to trade managers, which is why you'd use the nodes for gathering resources instead of like trade routes. So it just depends, and again, it's all RNG based. Keep in mind, as you do this stuff, you level up your skills and you're making more money. So for fishing, I've been making some money because I've gotten lucky. I've gotten a lot of relic shields or relic shards, and I've sold them and I've made a lot of money that way, and then I can put it back into the business, buying more, you know, workers or places, mainly upgrading because that's what actually costs money, and then collecting more resources and leveling up my fishing, and then I could buy like a better fishing rod, which then in turn lets me gather more fish. It's just all about, you know, making money to put it back into the business to make more money. It's a long process from here, but hopefully now you guys get the basics. If you have any questions, I'll help you guys in the comments. I'm losing my voice now. This should be the last take. This has been 6 hours of work, this whole video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If not, I tried my best. Leave a like if you like it, leave a dislike if you disliked it, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.